first fish in the heavy stuff is a freaking giant. I got, dude, the hand sanitizer in there is hot. Oh, you smell that? Porta potties, not it, baby. I wish I recorded stuff more. There's a lot of funny things that go on behind the scenes, especially when me and Caleb fish, that I always forget to record. I literally had every intention of taking the camera in with me this time, but I got on a phone call and then got sidetracked. Me and Caleb just drove a solid 40 minutes to fish this lake. We're like, what, halfway on the highway, and I'm like, Caleb, we messed up. We forgot the trolling motor battery. I was like, yep. What do we do? Well, we're 40 minutes from home, so, you know, buddy over here has to just tack it on to the TIGHTLINE TV expense. The reason I'm saying this right now, guys, because this is like so random. I've bought literally four deep cycle marine batteries this year due to the fact that I've driven to places that were really far away and forgot a battery. Only downside to rolling in John boats like this is you gotta take the battery out and charge it, and I always leave it on the battery charger. I need to get one built into this thing. Maybe that'll be a new project. Honestly, for the price that it costs to get a battery charger, I probably already spent that in batteries. On the bright side, I got a ton of batteries at home. So welcome back, folks. I got Caleb here with me today, and I'm gonna show you guys how to catch big bass in pressured bodies of water or when you're just fishing your local reservoir. A lot of people like to come out to lakes like this and they don't think there's big bass in them, but oftentimes they're just not looking in the right place. So this year I've been doing something very particular that's allowed me to get on a really nice bass bite. So we're gonna put it to the test today, but at the end of the day, I hope it helps you guys out. I'm gonna show you exactly how I dial down fish. Alrighty guys, so we are out here on the lake. I'm gonna show you how I dial down this body of water. I've only been here one time. If you guys saw my last video, I fished a big glide bait here, and that was about it for the majority of the time. And then at the end of the day, we fished frogs. This is a perfect example. This is like a awesome lake that has the best of both worlds, right? So we have a ton of docks, a ton of rocks, the cover that every bass fisherman loves to fish. But then on the complete other side of the lake, it has just super, I'm talking super. How many times did I say super, Caleb? On the other side, it has just really, really heavy vegetation. Now, a lot of people are intimidated to fish big, heavy weeds like that. A lot of times you can't catch fish out of weeds like that. So what they do is they rely on flipping the shoreline and just staying in their comfort zone. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna fish all these docks right here. We're gonna fish them how most people would typically fish them. Bass jigs, craws, Cincos, you name it. We're gonna try and get on a bite. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna look at the caliber of the fish that we're catching. I'm pretty confident that I can find fish here, but in my mind, this time of year, I think most of these smaller fish are gonna be around these docks and stuff like that. Especially when you're fishing pressured waters. You're seeing a lot of people fish this kind of structure simply because it's comfortable. What I've learned this year fishing a lot of these big reservoirs, and you know, I fished that tournament earlier this year, it was that these bigger fish were getting deep down in those thick weeds to the point where it almost seemed impossible to catch them. They were the places that I thought I would never figure out how to get fish out of there, and I just stuck with it and I fished it over and over again. Look at that, small bass right there. So this is what we're gonna do today. Caleb's fishing a worm right now, and I have not a doubt in my mind that you can catch a bunch of fish like this around these rocks and these docks. That sounds kind of funny, rocks and docks. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find those big fish later today after fishing this. Now, yes, you can catch bigger fish in areas like this as well, but more typically in the spring and the fall, those times where those fish might be on beds or seeking cover when there's less pressure. So what I'm gonna do today is test this theory. So we're gonna hop over the GoPro, show you how we're gonna fish this, and then we'll move to the heavy duty weeds. Let's get it. All right, so here is what we're doing. I'm gonna start with the juice, bandito bug. Caleb, show them what you like to fish. This is very different, actually. This is something that I will give to my cousin that I don't see people do very often.
Don't know what this is called.
He just fishes like a little finesse worm. Is that gulp worm? Power bait worm, something like that, with just a funky tail. He usually goes, what, pink and chartreuse typically? So he does really well on that, fishing it on a spinning rod. I personally like to fish bandito bugs, and if I do fish a ribbon tail, it's typically a Biospawn Exo ribbon. We're gonna see if we can get on a bite here, flipping these docks, and as the sun goes down, we're gonna go do some top water. So I've just learned when you fish these areas like this, you'll catch a lot of fish, but they're gonna be cookie cutter.
Take more than 5 minutes.
Oh, that was sick. Yeah. Do you see that? I hit the trolling motor and just broke my bandito bug in half.
What the heck was that?
I don't know how that happened. You see that? With the movie never. There we go, as I'm singing. Look at that, little double shamu.
What were you going to do? Send that one to Mars or?
Well, you know.
Set a hook so hard in my life.
I had to do it to him, you know? That's a pretty decent one. Not too shab, not too shab. I hope you didn't choke it. All right. Dude, buddy's been caught a time or two, eh? Why'd I just talk like that? I talked like I was like from Minnesota or something. All right, not bad, little 13-incher. We are fishing this section of the lake, like I was saying. In my opinion, this would be the most pressured side of the lake. Now, it's clearly a very public lake. Almost every single backyard has a boat or a kayak, so I'm sure the weekend warrior gets out here and bass fishes as much as they can. So on top of that, this is the cleanest part of the lake that doesn't have a ton of weeds and has a lot of simple structure. So although this can be really great for bass fishing, I think this time of year and in these kind of areas, it's just tough. I mean, Caleb's caught one bass, I caught one, but we've probably fished a solid 100-yard stretch at least so far and haven't got another bite. So oh, you think 1,000 yards?
And haven't gotten a bite.
Okay, well, we fished a 1,000-yard stretch. I don't know, I'm like trying to picture a football field and I was like, well, all right, well, well, my point that I'm trying to get across is we fished a lot of the lake and haven't got bit yet. And so I'm trying to just get you guys an idea of how I try to dial stuff down. You know, we're gonna fish through here and then we're gonna hop on the engine and go fish the other side of the lake that has just thick weed mats. But I'm gonna try and fish these rocks a little bit, see what happens. But yeah, it's 2 fish in, I guess, Caleb, what do you want? 1,000-yard stretch, 2,000 yard? In the majority of this cove that I would imagine most people fish. So if that makes sense, if you guys are understanding what I'm saying, I'm thinking it's not because it's a bad area to fish. I think the fish are here. I think it's just because it's pressured and they've seen a lot of baits.
Oh, there's a fish. I hate choked it. There's no way I didn't. Oh, another stinker dinker. This one's a smaller stinker dinker than the last stinker dinker. This is a smaller stinker dinker than the last.
Caleb calls all the tiny little 7-inchers stinker dinkers. I don't know why, but part of me thinks some people probably think you're saying a really bad swear word, and some of you are probably like, did he really just say what I think he said? He choked that thing?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he even got it in his mouth. We spent a little bit of time working the docks, fishing those rocky areas, a lot of down cover. So those are the spots that most of us bass fishermen are comfortable fishing. It's kind of like that go-to structure. You hop on a lake, that's usually the first thing that you end up fishing. So what we're gonna do here now is, you know, I'll show you when we get closer, but there's just massive weed mats back here. This stuff is intimidating. It's hard to fish if you don't know what you're doing, but I promise you, the bass that are hard to find in these lakes, those 4-pounders, 5-pounders, are deep in this stuff. Big bass are big bass for a reason. It's kind of like deer hunting. If you guys deer hunt, you'll know that big deer are big for a reason. And that's because they get down in those woods, they get in that deep cover, and a lot of them stay nocturnal. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start off by punching. I have a punching rig right here, and if this ends up working, I will talk more about it to you guys. But with the sun going down, I have a feeling there's gonna be a really good topwater bite. So because my topwater frog rod is currently snapped in half, I brought a frog rod. I'll show you guys a little behind the scenes. My lovely cousin Caleb over here took a cast earlier, and let's just say he swatted my rod and he snapped it in half. So my frog rod, my frog rod is out of commission right now. So before I go ahead and switch that reel over to this rod, we're gonna punch a little bit. So really thick grass here, really heavy cover. Let's find some big fish. I think this is a 5/16 ounce weight. I'm not 100%, might be, yeah, I think it's a 5/16 ounce weight or 3/8. I don't know, something like that. It's a heavier weight. We have it pegged, and we have this creature bait on here. So we're just gonna take this thing and we're gonna flip it in this stuff. You know, ideally you don't wanna be using fluorocarbon with this setup, but we'll be okay. I think I have 17 pounds, so it'll do. Oh, I just got bit right there already. That was quick. So what I'm gonna be doing here is I'm flipping this pegged bait up in the air, letting it drop down in this grass. I'm just gonna let it sink, see if we can get bit. For Ohio, I feel like I'm fishing like Okeechobee. That's what these weed mats remind me of. I'm just a little upset that I have 17-pound fluorocarbon and not 50-pound braid, but it's all right. All right. So typically this is a setup that I would fish more early in the morning or like late afternoon, honestly, hot afternoon. So this is a bait that I feel more confidence in earlier on in the day with the sun going down behind me. Okay, frog time. I switched. I done did it. Oh yeah. Oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. Got him. Come on, get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. He's stuck. Come through, baby. Come on. That was such a sick eat. Oh, that's a good fish, dude. Oh, yes, baby. That's a 5-pounder, baby. I told you, you guys get thick in this stuff, you get the giants. You see that, baby? Let's go, dude. This is what I'm telling you guys. When you fish these tournaments and you're looking for those hogs, I don't know if that's 5, but it's pretty dang close, bro. Yeah, that's a 5, dude. I think you're right. I literally have a scale. I have a scale coming in the mail right now, too, so I don't have to go over this anymore. This is what I was telling you guys. How long would you say we spent, Caleb? An hour and a half, 2 hours over there flipping docks?
Hour and a half.
Right? First fish in the heavy stuff is a freaking giant. On the frog, get in that heavy cover. £5 public load. That's the key, man. Gotta get those bigger fish deep in the weeds. For you guys, like if you're a frog fisherman and you're wondering how to really get that fish to see that frog, the key is to use a big frog. Use a big profile, heavy body frog and just get it in there so that fish knows you're on top of that weed mat. If you guys, you can't hear it right now because I have like a mic right up like on my chest, but there's just popping all over the place. There's bluegills just pop, pop, pop. And a lot of times these bass aren't even keying in on frogs. They're keying in on those bluegills that are eating those dragonflies and those mayflies. You know, throwing a frog on there is no different from just having another imitation of those bluegills. Yeah, I'm sure they eat frogs, but a lot of times these bass are not keying in on frogs in these weeds. They're keying in on that bait fish that's coming up and eating those flies. I also learned doing this that when you feel them shake is when you gotta horse them. Like when you feel that like dunk dunk, that's when you pull straight up. Because when they're not moving, typically it's because they're jammed in there. So when they break free a little bit, you gotta get them on top of the water. I mean, dude, he was hooked good. So like you see these isolated patches right here like this? So I chug through here, chug, chug, chug real hard, and then I pause like it's taking a break. Yeah, I knew when that thing, oh.
That's a big one, that's a giant, dude, that's a giant, that's gotta be.
I hope he's still on, dude. Yeah, I see a tail, I see a tail. I see a tail. You gonna grab it for me? Do you see what I'm saying? I literally, my tutorial in hand right there, dude. Those isolated patches. Please be in there, baby. Please be in there. I'm coming for you. Just grab the whole patch just in case he's not in there, is he? Oh. Is he? It's not that big, is it? Not as big as the last one. He blew up bigger than the last one. Oh! I mean, dude, that's still a big fish.
Yeah.
Like, dude, look how he devoured that frog too. People think in that deep cover too, bro, that they don't eat that stuff. Here, can you get the, can you, I don't have to put this one on the big camera. Stop it! I know you didn't get your fight out because I dragged you through the weeds, but can you just get a picture, iPhone picture? Look how he ate that thing. Bloop. This is probably what, 3 pounder? No, 2.5? I think 2.5. Perfect. All right, I'm just gonna, I don't want him to get stuck in the weeds, so I'm gonna, I think he was pretty close to 3, or at least on the side of 3. Yep. Definitely high 2s. I'd say like 2.8 if anything. But did you see how I just let it sit there and he hit it?
I think the reason why I thought it was so big is because he...
Well, there you guys have it. I think kind of proved my point. Just saying. All jokes aside, not getting super cocky with you guys. Ow, I just totally hit my arm into the back of the ATV. The point of this video was to get out there and show you guys my technique on how you can go to a pressured body of water or a public body of water and catch bigger fish. A lot of people often get discouraged and think, this lake's full of 1-pounders, or, you know, this pond doesn't have anything big in it, or it's very hard to catch big fish. You just got to find them. Big fish are big fish for a reason. That's just what it comes down to. Those bigger bass are going to be in those less pressured areas where they're harder to reach. And, you know, that's just what it is. So I figured that out recently. I always struggled because it's so easy to just go right to your comfort zone, find a shoreline with some laydowns, find some rocks, things like that, or find, you know, a boat dock and just start flipping it. Now, it does work. You guys will catch fish, and it's a great technique if you're just trying to get out there and get on a bite. But if you're really looking for those 1 or 2 really, really big bites, you got to get in that thick stuff. You got to get to those hard to reach areas where those fish are going to be hanging out. Now, I want you guys to understand, I'm not telling you not to go fish those docks and those laydowns, because there's going to be certain times throughout the year where bigger fish are staged up in those locations, or there's going to be lakes that just don't get as much pressure and they're going to hold bigger fish. But if you are fishing a public body of water, you have a pretty safe bet finding some bigger fish and that harder to find cover. So with that being said, I hope you guys learned something here today. I've been really trying to break down big bodies of water. I want to fish more tournaments, but I want to be confident that these lakes that I'm fishing, I know where these big bag fish are. I fished a couple tournaments earlier this year. I did really well, but I did not find that big bite. And I realized this is why. I was fishing all the areas I was intimidated to fish because I didn't think I knew what I was doing. I've been doing very well for myself recently. I've caught probably more 5-pounders this year than I have like any other summer. So I don't know if that's coincidental or because I just know what I'm talking about. But it is what it is. Hey, if you guys got any questions, leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching this video to that point, and I will see you guys on Monday with a fresh new upload. If you guys want to see anything, leave me a comment down below. Back on track with the schedule. See you guys later.